The microseed is a very cool solution to the problem that we have as Bitcoiners about what we do with our seed phrase and how we store our very important backup recovery phrases. This, as you can see, is just a really small washer, and it has 12 words on one side. So both sides of this could act as a backup for your 24 words. I'm going to be showing you how to use this microseed kit. And I'm also going to talk throughout it about some of the pros, some of the potential cons, and just my thoughts. So this is going to act as a how-to and a review of this product. The microseed kit is a few main parts, the most important being the jig. There's the table part of the jig, which has 2 slots for your stamps, whether you want to stamp on the outside or the inside. There's also a dial on the bottom, which you put the washer in, and you secure the washer with a bolt and lock washer. It also comes with a small hammer, which is also an indication of how little pressure and force you actually need to make a good indentation with these stamps, because these stamps have such a small surface area. The stamps themselves are micro. They are really, really small. The way to tell whether you're stamping on the outside or the inside is with these little indentations on the top of the table. The one that's far away from the stamp slot is the outside, and the one that's close is the inside. The stamps themselves are in a case that separates them, which makes them easier to take in and out, and is a big improvement on many other stamps out there. The stamps also have on the side of them an indication of what letter or number they are, which makes it easy to visually see which one you want to select, and it's also an indication of which side to face towards yourself. Each time you stamp something, you want to move the base, the dial, at least once. If you rotate the dial twice, 2 clicks, it creates a space between your previous indentation and the next indentation that you do. So what I did for my words is I did a 1, then I did the word, and I just did 1 click in between all of those. And then I did 2 clicks, and then I did a 2 and did my second word. There are some massive big pros with this setup, but I also want to just quickly rattle off a couple of the cons. One of them is that it is actually difficult to read the seed phrase with the naked eye. So the recovery process requires you probably, most likely, to use a magnifying glass. The magnifying glass that comes with this kit doesn't do a lot. It's a small little magnifying glass. If you had a bigger, better one, that would make the recovery process a lot easier when you're actually trying to reread the seed phrase that you've stamped on here. The other con I would say here is that it's pretty easy to lose a washer. It's pretty easy to not put a lot of importance on such a small thing like a washer. So if you just set this down on your desk, it falls on the floor, it gets swept up. It's pretty easy to kind of just forget where you've placed something like this. When you have a seed plate, just because of the simple size difference of it, it's probably something you're not just going to end up losing like you could with such a small little washer like this. Now, both of those cons are slightly nitpicking in my eyes, and they're small trade-offs to the massive pros that come with the microseed. One last con, though, I will say, is that this setup is more advanced. It is more difficult to do this than just a standard stamping kit, but only marginally. It's not that difficult to do this. You just have to remember to rotate each time. If you don't rotate, you could stamp in the same place accidentally, which would ruin the understanding and visibility of that specific letter that you did. So there could be some human error upon doing this, but ultimately, once you get the strategy down of just rotating every time after you stamp, you're good to go. And this is pretty simple and easy. The biggest pro of the microseed, in my opinion, is pretty obvious. It's pretty obvious because of how inconspicuous the seed washer is. You could make a bunch of these with your seed phrase on them, 12 words on one side or 24 on both. You could also put your passphrase on these if you have a passphrase wallet, and you could store these really easily throughout your own house or throughout other people's that you have an agreement with, and really split up your backups in really simple, easy ways. I'm thinking even on the back of an appliance, you could undo one of the screws on one of your large appliances, like your stove or washer. I'm not advising this, and of course, be careful if you're messing around with those kind of things. But as an example, you could unscrew one of those, put this behind the screw, put the screw back on, and this would just look like a washer that was attached to the appliance, and no one would think twice about it. And you would have your seed phrase hidden really, really well. Microseed has some titanium washers, and I think that's a really great option if you want to be even more secure with those specific backups. But another pro I would say about this is that you can go to a hardware store and buy some stainless steel washers, buy some regular washers, and create some additional backups that are going to withstand quite a lot and be really durable. Not as durable as the titanium ones, but these could be additional backups. And that's really what I would recommend you do with this, is create lots of backups. I think, as I said, the fact that these are easier to lose is a con, and you mitigate that vulnerability by having multiple of them and recording them in some way of how they are kept and where they are kept. So if you have friends, family that are okay with you doing this, you could have these in each of their homes really easily. You could just throw one of these in their toolbox. You could, as I said, you can attach them to something. They can be these sort of ultimate backups if something else fails. If your main backups fail, if those get lost or you're not able to get to them, you have these sort of backups. And that's what this is really good for, in my opinion. Now, this is a pretty specialty product, and it has a higher price tag because of that. It's $300 or $295 as of recording this. And that's for the Pro Kit. There's also an advanced kit, but the Pro Kit, $295. It's a little more than you're going to pay for other types of stamp kits that I've seen on the market. Maybe there's other ones that are comparable, but I will say that this one has a lot of other advanced pieces with it. It has the jig, which I'm sure costs a lot to manufacture. It has the specialty stamps. And really, I think that for what it is, it's fairly priced. And if you think that this could be a part of your kit, if you think that this could be useful for your backups, I would recommend checking it out. And I actually have a discount link that you get a discount, I get a little kickback. It's an affiliate link, goes to support the show, and it's a win-win. You get something, you get a discount, right? So check that out. There is a link for that in the description. There's a code for it if this is something that you think would be handy for your setup. So hopefully this is helpful in your decision making about how you're going to store your important Bitcoin secrets. And I have some other videos below reviewing other types of backup methods. And I'm also going to do a video comparing them all against each other. And lastly, I do have a code in the description if you guys want to buy one of these, and you actually get a discount using my code. And lastly, if you do need some additional help with your Bitcoin best practices and security, you can hire me for a one-on-one consult. And the link for that is in the description. It's pathtobitcoin.xyz. Consider joining the Bitcoin school community that I have, the Bitcoin Masters. I have some exclusive courses on there, and it's a great way to meet some very good Bitcoiners.